Hi everyone, so I'm going to show you how to convert units of measure. So we're going to take a look at this chart that goes from inches to miles. So as you can see, if you're going from left to right, you're going into bigger measurements because inches are obviously smaller than miles. So when you're going from left to right and you're following this direction, you'll notice that it says that you need to divide every time that you're jumping a unit. That's because you're going to bigger units. The opposite is when you're going from a larger unit, such as miles, and going all the way to a smaller unit, like inches. When you're doing this, you're following this direction, which means you're going to be multiplying. So I'm going to show you some examples of how to do this so that you can better understand for when you do your own independent work. So the first one I have here is we don't know what the yards are, but we know that whatever the measurement of yards is equals 48 feet. So if we look back at our chart, we go from feet and we need to go to yards to figure out how many yards we need. So if we have 48 feet, we're starting at feet and we need to go to yards, which means we're following this direction. So this arrow says to divide by 3. So what you would do is you would take your 48 and divide it by 3. There are 16 yards in 48 feet. The next one, we have 10 yards and we need to know how many inches. So we start at yards and we're going to the left to inches, which means we're going to follow this first arrow, which tells us to times by 3, and then the second arrow, which tells us to multiply by 12. So this one has 2 steps that we need to do. So we have 10 yards. The first thing we're going to do is times our 10 yards by 3 so we can get to feet. So 10 yards times it by 3. So far we're at 30. So there's 30 feet in a yard, but we don't need feet, we need inches. So to go from feet to inches, now we also need to multiply by 12. So we're going to go back to our calculator and we're going to times that by 12. So now I know that there's 360 inches in 10 yards. Okay, the next one is very similar, but it's just the opposite direction. So now we have the inches and we need to know how many yards are in 108 inches. So our starting point is inches because that's what we know, and we're going to yards. So because we're going in from left to right, now we need to follow the arrows on the top. So the first thing I need to do is I need to take my, 108 inches, and I need to divide that by 12. And then whatever I get, I need to also divide that by 3 to get 2 yards. So I'm going to take 108 and divide that by 12. And then I'm going to divide that by 3. So there are 3 yards in 108 inches. Okay, my last one is a little tricky because I'm going from feet all the way to miles. So feet is my starting point and I'm going all the way to miles, which means because I'm going from left to right, I'm going to follow these arrows going from left to right. So the first thing I do is I'm going to take the amount of feet I have and I'm going to divide that by 3. Then I'm going to take that answer and divide it by 1,760. So we have 26,400. I'm going to divide that by 3. Okay, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to divide that by my 1,760. So there are 5 miles make up 26,400 feet. And that is how you convert units of measure.